think the biggest thing I learned in all of it is like to not fear the anxiety. Like it's going to come and it's going to pass. It's not going to be a forever feeling. And so what are the things that I can do to make it not as detrimental? Like, hey, I'm recognizing that it's coming and I can do these things. And yeah, it's not going to be great for a little while, but I know it's going to go away.
All right, welcome back. Here we are, Restoration Club podcast, season 4, episode 4. Danny, I'm excited about today. You know what I mean? Like there's something in the air.
No doubt, man. I mean, we are on the backside of a little back-to-back Masters win, but you guys will get to hear a little bit more about that through a personal POV, which is fun to experience.
Yeah, like Howie Hutchinson's a special guy. He's with the Dormie Network Foundation. I think that everyone's going to love his journey, not just in what he's doing, but like where he came from and how that all goes down. A lot of times we have loved everybody we have. And I think what I love about how the podcast works is that it's just so relational, that everybody's themselves and everyone's such a good connect, and how he just continues that same kind of ethos with us, that everybody's got. It's just that good hang. And like, I've known him for a long time. It's the second virtual call we've ever had. So I just love this stuff.
No, really good guy, clearly committed to finding a way to intersect hospitality, philanthropy, and the game. So it's fun to see the position he's in and the way that he can impact the space. And as you said, just another guy that's really committed to relationship and building community too.
Yeah, 100%. So everyone, hope you enjoy season 4, episode 4 of the Restoration Club podcast. All right, everyone, welcome to the clubhouse. Here we are, Restoration Club again. It's happening. We're live. Pretty excited right now because Danny, forgive me, would you say it's about a year and change ago that we had this conversation with Dormie Foundation?
It was right around there, yeah. I think that's when the initial discussion started.
Yeah, and so we had a chance to sit with the team and talk a little bit about what it looks like and how they support nonprofits in certain ways, and with us and what we're doing. And there was this guy that we met, Howie Hutchinson. But we had a chance to meet him. And what was really cool that really stood out to me, besides just enigmatic and could talk and have a great time together, he talked about his hat collection. I don't know. It just caught because that's me. I mean, Danny, it's the same as you. Like, our wives probably are like, what's going on here? How could there be another hat? But it kind of caught the attention there. And then as the game and as social media does, friendships start to evolve digitally and things start to happen and people start to meet each other and all these things are happening. And then we make an ask and say, hey, man, I think we want to tell not only your story, but also Dormie Foundation and kind of everything that's going on in your world. And I know it's going to be a fun time, but we want everyone to welcome Howie into the clubhouse today. Howie, this is always the unique way to kind of transition this, but like, hey, tell us about yourself like it's a job interview. But no, like, let the people know kind of who you are, where you are, and kind of what you're up to these days.
Yeah, well, thank you. This has been a long time coming, so I'm glad we're here. Who am I? Where am I? What am I up to? I'm Howie Hutchinson. I am a husband to my wife and father to my 2 kiddos, a daughter and a son. That's first and foremost, is our core unit there. We live in Denver, Colorado. We've been here for how many years? We're pushing 19 years. Geez, we've basically grown up as adults, my wife and I, in Colorado. But I originally grew up in New England, born in Boston, moved up to Maine, met my wife in college at Gordon College, faith-based liberal arts school outside of Boston. Got married pretty young and lived in Boston for a year and then came here. But enjoy it. It's a beautiful place to be. And probably get into this a little bit later, but have been very connected to the community here just because of my career in the nonprofit space. So we love it. We love the people, and
it's awesome.
It's been great.
Tell us how, again, you mentioned like being young and all of a sudden after a year, you head off to Denver. What brought you to Colorado?
Yeah. So really it was my wife's decision to go to grad school and get her master's in counseling. So we came to Denver Seminary and she got her master's in counseling out here and now has her own practice as a mental health therapist. And I think she's doing well at it. We're not really supposed to talk about it. but she goes to work and we pay the bills. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Well,
working out.
the question is, how are you doing in it? Like, is the question she asks you probably are
Okay.
always.
Quick
Um,
session, real quick. Let's
Yeah.
break it down.
so I will say, people ask me that a lot, and I am so thankful for her. Um, she does a great job of like creating boundaries and barriers between home life and work life, but it's impossible for her training not to come out in the day-to-day interactions that we have. But from the way we navigate life, her influence as a mom to our kids, and even, to me as her partner, like I couldn't be more thankful, because I know that things would be different if, obviously, things would be different if I was married to somebody else, but just the fact that she can bring some of that thoughtfulness and training into our home life has been amazing. And I think the most important part of that is like mom to our kids, like the way we're approaching, and she's able to help approach raising our kiddos is so great. I'm so thankful.
I love that. I work in a para mental health world and group mentoring. And so we do a lot of group facilitation and things like that. So I often have to kind of take the hat off as well when I go home. But my wife kind of leans into the same thing, saying this helps us dialogue and draw it out, because I'm not going to tell her how we should do it, but more like get input, feedback, and get buy-in from everybody involved. So it usually
Yeah.
happens as a skill. And she can call me out too if I'm getting a little over the top. So I appreciate those sides.
Well, do you ever like, or do people ever seek you out, I guess, within the family when there's a time of need? Like, I know that I went through a season of life where anxiety was a pretty real thing for me. And I remember that was really the only time I ever was like, I was like, hey, I'm actually like looking for you to be my therapist right now. And then even there's still some boundaries where that's probably, she can only go so far. But I remember being like, no, I need you in that way. Or at least I would welcome you to enter into that a little deeper.
Yeah, and that does happen for me in terms of, especially in group stuff, where people are like, "Hey, we really want to get together and kind of dialogue some things together, whether it's in the community or whether it's in our core like faith community, or even in our family, my in-laws or anyone else." It's a kind of a lead-in and trusted piece, which I hold as honor. And to be able to do that, I think that's what's the great thing about community that God can build too. Like people's skills and gifts can be used for the benefit. That's how the whole ideal process works. And I think that's what's really cool, is being able to put our skills and our natural abilities along with our adaptive abilities together. It's really cool. I love it.
Hi, I'm just curious to ask, and I only ask this because I assume some of our listeners may have or are going through something similar. For as much as you're willing to share, what did that season look like that was maybe riddled with more anxiety? Can you put some triggers on that? And then hopefully as you move through that, what was it that kind of got you through that season?
Yeah, I'm happy to actually. I learned that one of the best things for me during that season was just talking to people, and really talking to people who got it and maybe even had their own experience. So I would love to offer that. So happy to share as much as I can, or you desire to ask questions about. You know, it's interesting now that I've been kind of in the rears of it for I would say a couple years now. I often think back and be like, what was going on? Like, why did that happen? And why isn't it happening anymore? And I don't, I honestly don't know the answer as to like what specifically triggered it. I bet my wife could tell you. But I think I was just in a season of life where there was just a lot going on, right? Like, I was in a different job at the time. I was probably thinking a lot about like what does career look like? What does providing for the family look like? Some of those things, but also in the midst of like, you know, raising kids and have, a family, and which any of those things in and of themselves are like manageable. I've gone through those before and have found, so I think it was just like the perfect storm that hit. But what happened is like I couldn't shake it, like, and um and there were certain like symptoms and things that would show up, and then I would get anxious. Like, for example, like one of my symptoms was just like feeling sick, and I hate feeling sick. So feeling sick makes me anxious, and it was this like vicious cycle.
Snowballs from there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I found that it was ruining important moments in our lives, like anything from like a date night with my wife to a big family gathering, holidays. Like I wouldn't be able to participate in some of the things, or I could see it really impacting the things that I knew were most important to my wife. And so, um, I think as a lot of people do, I tried to navigate it by myself for a while. And then, which is silly because I'm like, my wife's a therapist and she's constantly telling me to like, you know, get the help that you need. And so I ended up seeing somebody. And I think what came from that which was most effective, was just getting some tools in the toolbox, like some specific things around like physically what I can be doing in the moments when I feel it coming. And I think the biggest thing I learned in all of it is like to not fear the anxiety. Like it's going to come and it's going to pass. It's not going to be a forever feeling. And so what are the things that I can do to make it not as detrimental? Like, hey, I'm recognizing that it's coming and I can do these things. And yeah, it's not going to be great for a little while, but I know it's going to go away. And that mindset. And I don't remember the book I was reading. I was given this, recommended it by my therapist. I should probably try to find it and can share it or whatever. But I remember there was a part of it where they talk about, like facing the roar, or running, like running towards the roar, like as if it's like a lion. And then like our fight or flight, tendencies, like when we feel or hear that lion roaring at us, what do we want to do? Get the heck out of there. Well, anxiety is that roar, right? And when it shows up, it's like, and what we need to do is not run from it, because it's just going to make us more anxious and it's just going to keep chasing us. But if we flip that script and we like face it head on, we can kind of manage it better. And so, it eventually subsided, and I am so thankful. Like I find myself in situations where I'm like, this would have shown up here. And I'm so glad it's not. And that's where I kind of reflect and I'm like, what was happening? And I don't know that I can pinpoint specific things as to really why it started, really why it ended, but just know that I have some tools in my toolbox that I do need to, use from time to time. But it has made me like much more aware, and I think just empathetic for others who deal with it, whether it's on a very small scale or a really big scale, because even the small stuff is a bummer to have to go through.
Yeah. Small things can be magnified sometimes within our own lenses. And so understanding that, and I think a lot of people listening can understand, especially as I mean, I think everyone can feel pressure oftentimes, but we live in a society where the male pressure can be very, very heavy in ways of carrying the family, carrying burdens without sharing burdens, carrying emotion, or even the things like you said that can snowball and cyclically work. But having as you said, the tool in the tool belt now is such a valuable key. It's a coping skill. It's a mechanism that allows you to actually move through life without being restrained. And I think there's such a freedom in facing that roar. And it's such a powerful thing, because when that lion, I don't know if the book is in a pit with a lion on a snowy day. That's all
I
I'm
was
thinking
wondering
of.
the same thing. That's all I could
Is
hear
it a
in my
Mark
head.
Batterson? Is it a Mark Batterson book?
It's not that book,
I got you.
but it might have been taken from that. It was just a chapter within this book. So
Yeah. It just reminded me, just when you said that, I thought about those things, and the idea that we do. I think one of the greatest things that can happen again is seek help, and also learn that those moments will subside with the work, with the movement. They will. And it's in those times you felt times where you didn't think it would, right? I'd
yeah,
assume you're like, but having that in that space is such a valuable piece. And I love that you have a partner that will encourage you to go talk to someone, that you're surrounded by good people. Like those things are so important.
well, and
And
she was very, very clear to me that I can't be your therapist, right? Like that's just not appropriate.
yes,
And I remember that because I was like wanting her. I was like, come on, if there's ever a time I'm like wanting you to do this in
You got
home,
a
like
built-in
now's the
option.
time.
Yeah.
yeah,
But the other thing that this is interesting. I've always been very much an extrovert, very much a relational person. But I think going through that experience over probably 2 or 3 years overall actually led me to have some more introverted tendencies. Like now I feel like I need both. But connecting with people like was such a huge help. And I know, what you guys do, that's like the core, right, of it is like community and connection. And so that was a big thing. And so like there were people that definitely showed up, and that were willing to like just let me like hang, and that was big.
That's good. Thank Howie, number one, thank you for sharing that. Again, we know that there are people listening that does impact and can have possibility and choice to have them kind of move in a new direction, potentially offer an encouragement to them. And so we're super thankful that you would even on the fly. It's definitely not in our show notes that, hey, Howie, we're going to unpack it all, buddy. Let's get active.
Wasn't planning to talk about that. But that's what I love about these conversations is like, you never know. And
yeah, without a doubt. And but even in that, in a transition conversation, because I don't really know how to segue this because I really want to talk about it as we lay that chapter down. But I want to talk about your week last week, as you had an opportunity on Friday to walk onto a municipal course in Augusta, Georgia, called Augusta National Golf Club. I don't even know where to start in asking. Danny and I have both been there, so we can get it. And a lot of people who are listening do as well. But maybe just tell us, how'd you get there? Tell us about some of your experience, maybe a favorite moment even there.
I think it's a cool story, right? Like, of how it all came together. I definitely did not feel any anxiety while I was in Augusta.
I was going to say, you said that all peaked in a previous role. Maybe you just need to get on the golf course more. So I say that lightly, but
yeah.
I think there's some truth to that. I'll start it with this, and it's something that happened this week after I got home to Denver. Somebody called me, I think, a couple days ago, and somebody I know, somebody I work with through my current role at the Dormie Network Foundation, and not like a colleague, but like connected to a nonprofit partner. And so I figured he was calling, to ask about, our partnership and things like that. And most of the people that I connect with are golfers. So he started just by asking like, I think he saw like a social media post or something. It was like, how was it? Like, and we just talked about it. And then I was like, hey, I got to run, but was there something that you wanted to talk about? And he's like, no, man, like I just saw that you went to the Masters and I just wanted to hear what you thought. And to me, that summarizes like what the experience is. And it's like, there's so many people that don't get to go. And I get that. Like this was my first time ever. And so up until last week, I was in that camp. But there's also an appreciation that I think most people that I've interacted with have when they know that somebody gets to go. There might be this hint of jealousy initially, if we're being honest. But at the end of the day, you're like excited for them. Like, holy cow, you get to go to the Masters, to Augusta National. And that was a reminder of that. And also a reminder to kind of hold that mindset and posture when I maybe am feeling a little jealous initially of experiences that people get, but to just join them in the joy of whatever it was, whatever the experience was. It doesn't have to just be around the Masters or golf. So anyway, that's a kind of a cool like experience I had afterwards that summarizes how I feel about it. But we could take up a lot of time talking about how this all came to be, but essentially, another contact and friend of mine here in Denver who was also, so like activating generosity is a term I use a lot. I did not make it up, but it's something that I love and I think fits well into the work we do at the Dormie Network Foundation. Well, I would consider this friend of mine also an activator of generosity through his business and things like that. But he serves on a board with a woman for a whole separate organization. But they were talking because she was going to be hosting a fundraising event during Masters Week in Augusta. And they were talking about it. And my friend was like, man, you need to talk to Howie with the Dormie Network Foundation. I'm sure there's something that, they could do to partner or align or walk alongside what you're doing in that event. So that was the initial like connection point to even getting to Augusta. And we did partner with them, and the fundraising event that happened, it was at Club Magnolia, which is a fantastic hospitality experience and venue, unaffiliated with the Masters, but in Augusta, like there's all kinds of those things that are popping up that week. And a portion of that was hosted this event, and it was an amazing event. Our friend Tom Coyne and Jack Nicholas did a fireside chat. The organization presented Jack and Barbara with an Excellence in Philanthropy Award. And they have done that before, but this was the first time they had ever awarded somebody related to golf this award. So anyway, I mean, we were in a room of like 50 people, and we just got to hear this conversation. And the thing that stood out, I mean, there's so many great things hearing Jack talk about his legacy and his experience, but he talks so much about his family. And there were so many of his family members there. And that was encouraging for me. You can just tell that that's a priority for them and their family. So that was great. So that's what got us there. And we had that was almost enough just to be a part of that. Right. And then just through some other super generous people that I've met through the game of golf, through my work at the Dormie Network Foundation, just one thing led to another, and a ticket to the Masters was offered. And, this member hosts many of their clients and things over the course of the years, and just extended that. And I mean, gosh, just such a generous thing to do. Yeah. Got to spend a good part of Friday at the Masters and followed Rory, his whole back nine, and and that amazing run he had. Yeah. Birdied 6 out of the last 7 holes, and that chip in on 17. I mean, it was super fun. And I haven't been to a ton of, live golf matches or events. And so I don't have a ton to compare to, but enough to be where like, yeah, this obviously sets it apart and it's done differently. And I'm still taking it in even to this day, but I'm extremely grateful. The other part to the week that I must talk about, best ball, the guys were a big part of it. And because one, Jonathan hosted us, his family is just incredible. And so they kind of hosted us to stay that week, and then got to engage with them, and they got to participate in the event as well, and kind of go live with their podcast from the event and record the whole conversation with Jack. And I mean, it was just super cool. And then on the way out, we drove back to Atlanta from Augusta, and another member of the Dormie Network that I've gotten to know through our foundation hosted us at his club, River Club, just north of Atlanta. And that was awesome and amazing. And we rushed to the airport and came home, and it was like, so anyway, that's the gist of it. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
And and I don't know. I mean, I think you asked one of my favorite parts or something about the Masters.
Just in the experience. I mean, you've nailed so many things, but like even just being on the grounds, and that's something that often people will reflect on. But for you, was there something that kind of, as you're maybe walking an Amen corner, or you're coming up on another hole, or you see something that just kind of piqued your interest that you were thought of?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to just say one. And the ones that I share will probably be things that everybody experiences. But that's what it is, right? It's supposed to be that. But definitely hanging out at Amen Corner. We were right behind the 12 tee box watched several groups come through, and just little things like watching them look at the flag on 11 instead of the flag on 12 to see what they were going to do. To see what happens when between players hitting, and how they like clean off the green, like if someone hits out of the bunker, like to make everything just like perfect. I mean, honestly, like I know we're going to talk about our good buddy Jeff Marsh at some point on this, but I remember him reaching out to me and just being like, sharing some things, and it wasn't necessarily about like how to navigate the course or where to go when. It was like literally just go and be.
Yeah. That's cool.
and take it in and let it be your experience. And so to not have too much of like pressure to be like, I got to go and do all these things, just to be there and just let it be whatever it was. And so, I heard, we all know that they extended the tee box back on 13. And so hearing stories about like how that happened and what they needed to do to like acquire some land to make that tee box get pushed back, those things were just wild. And then to look at it when we were there was pretty cool. And then the only other thing I'll say is, I don't know. Probably since I've gotten a cell phone, which was like almost 20 years ago, I haven't gone that long without having one in my pocket other than like when I'm sleeping. Right. And I remember we walk in and the first thing I did when I got through the area was go to reach for my phone. And I was like, oh yeah, it's not there. And I didn't try to do it again. And I remember seeing this social media post earlier this week where they were talking about the Masters and this phone thing, and they're comparing. They had different things pulled up as far as photos, like big moments in sports. So like when LeBron broke the scoring record, when Messi had his first match with Miami, and you see literally every single person in the background of the photo holding up their phone, and you show whatever Rory hitting his final putt to win the Masters. And what's everybody doing? Like they're like cheering, but nothing in hand. And like, I know we all talk about how that's a big thing with the Masters at Augusta National, but like it is truly special to like even just experience that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, 8 to 10 hours of not having a distraction and being able just to have conversations with people, and not just people you're with too. Like, right. Everybody wants to talk to each other. I feel like everybody's sharing in an experience and you're just walking around and they're like, everyone has an air of like, this is a magical thing.
The
And
ones the ones that have been there a lot, like they're more than willing to be helpful
yeah,
for the first timers. Like I've experienced that. The whole chair thing too was crazy to
my
watch and
background.
fun
Yeah.
and really
Yeah.
fun.
What are all these empty chairs doing here? Like, what's going
and
on?
then seeing people get up and then come back, and then somebody sitting in that seat, it's okay. And then it's such a unique thing that you want, like just common decency to be a norm outside of the grounds. And so I kind of left thinking a couple things. I want to put my phone down more. I really do want to just talk to people and offer more of kind of that. I want to activate some generosity and whatever it is, letting someone in traffic,
Yes.
letting someone,
Yeah.
no matter what it is, just like inviting them in, because this, not everybody has the same experience every time. So it's like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to enjoy. And it's just
It's true.
magical.
It's truly amazing that they've been able to maintain that too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They just have.
Yeah. There's no question about it. Like no one has,
there's
you
no,
They're
have an
not
option.
willing to sacrifice the character that they've built.
no.
Right.
And I mean,
So.
but it's truly amazing because in a world where like a lot of people just kind of do what they want, and in most cases can kind of get away with it to some extent, they've just been able to keep that pure.
Yeah. It's great because as we kind of make a little a transition point here too, Danny, you're rocking the Masters lid right now, and I'm sure anytime we've all worn the yellow United States logo out in public, Sunday I was wearing to church even, and another guy had a quarter zip across the way, and I don't know him. He just looks at me,
Yeah.
gives me a little head nod, and I'm like, "Yeah, brother, we're locked
So
in now."
I have a question about that. Like, I've been wondering, like, do I have to put my Masters gear away until next year? Like, do you rock it all year long?
Yeah. Well, hats are always easy for me. I'll rock a hat steady.
Yeah.
There's a certain polo I just keep away. One I play in. Like I'm like I'll play in this one. It's kind of what I've had, and but yeah, it's what. How eat your world?
Like I got a stack of cups that I collected. People were and
those
I'm like,
year round.
Listen,
okay, good.
My boy, my sons are using them as mouthwash in their bathrooms right now. They have
Nice.
Masters cups.
Hey.
Like they're living their best life.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. So yeah, I would say just have at it, and like, but it's also
Right,
fun
good.
to break it out. Like you have
Good. I know what I'm wearing tomorrow. I know
Yeah.
I already know my outfit for tomorrow.
Well,
Great. Thank you.
It's bringing that stuff that was on there back out. It's a conversation piece that opened the door, not only about the experience and what it means and all those things, but who knows what it opens up to as well. So you get a chance to go, hey, this is what it is. And why would you buy it unless it was to be worn anyway? Like it never made a ton of sense to me not to do that. But speaking of
I
logo,
went to Augusta with 4 hats and came back with 9. So speaking of, but I will
it'll get
say
you.
several of those are gifts. So they won't all end up on the hat rack in my
Yeah.
closet.
I had to get a couple new pint glasses last year, and I bought a couple the first time I ever went, which is 11 years ago at this point. And there was one day where I felt like, oh, they're in the cupboard, free reign, anybody can use them. And one of my sons, unfortunately, dropped one of them. And you cringe a little more than
Yeah.
any other cup when that happens. So,
That is true.
but a reason
It's
to reload if you ever get to go
Yeah,
back.
there you go. Well,
Yep. Yep.
that's the power of logos and what it can mean for us. I mean, if I'm looking on the screen right now, I mean, we're rocking some iconic things, rocking here. But my favorite one that I see on the screen, Howie, you're rocking your Restoration Club lid from our friends at Sugar and Cream Customs.
Cream of sugar.
Cream
Yep.
of sugar. Sorry, boys. Love you, Steve. Love you. But you know, when we see those things out, it makes us really happy. But it gives us a chance to ask, like, tell me how you connected even to Restoration.
Love the story.
Club,
Love the story.
Let's get it.
And I remind me that there's another fun like add-on at the end if I don't go into it automatically. But okay, so 2 falls ago. So we haven't talked really Dormie Network yet, but I'm guessing fair amount of your listeners maybe are familiar at least with the concept. But so all of our clubs host a couple of member guest events each year, and we've been trying to make our Victoria National fall member guest more of a charitable event, either supporting a specific cause or having the entry fees for that member guest kind of go towards our foundation and then pass through to organizations that we work with. So anyway, so I'm out there a couple falls ago participating in this event, and I think we're waiting. One of the mornings, we're just waiting to get the round started, and there's this guy with a bunch of cameras and stuff, just like literally like laying on his side on the first tee box. And I'm not doing anything, and it's just up the hill from our putting green. And I go up there, and you can probably guess who it is. Good buddy Jeff Marsh. And I've never met him, don't know much about him, and except that I assume he's a photographer because of what he's doing. Well, he was there to basically just capture that event, and actually think some stuff from that his time there is in his most recent Golf is Art book. So anyway, so we're talking, and we talk very little about photography, and what we immediately dive into is Restoration Club. And I mean, essentially just start talking about faith, golf, bringing people together and building community. And I'm like, yes, yes. And so from there, we kind of strike up a friendship from afar. Like I still, since that day, I've not seen him in person. But we've communicated, we've connected, and a lot of cool things have, been connected to you. And just probably just so many people that I've met or are definitely like, oh, you also know Restoration Club and the guys that are behind it and that. And so, just like many other things, like continue to build that relationship however we can and see where it goes. And it's just at the end of the day about good people connecting. And so that's how I learned about it. And, Jeff was nice enough to send me this hat at the end of last year, and I wear it proudly. And so here comes the little follow-up story. So I was, wearing it, probably posted something, gave Restoration Club a shout out on it, and a good buddy of mine who works for an organization in Phoenix that we partner with through our foundation saw it, and he's like, I need those. And he said those, like, because he needed multiple. Well, his name is Ryan Corey, so same initials. So that was the initial reason why he said he needed them, because he loved the logo and the RC. But then I got to share what it actually is. And so he has a couple in his possession now. And that's another example, right? Like we see these cool things, we have these cool experiences, and then it opens up an opportunity to actually talk about what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's even better than a lot of times than what the like brand or the experience was. It's like, what's the meaning behind it?
Exactly. And, we're always thankful with Dave Baisden being the designer behind the logo and his thoughtful process. And if you ever get a chance to look inside of our, essentially our drive that shows all of the iterations of logos over
Mm,
time have been unbelievable, from pencil sketches of that to what it became, and continues to become. It's really powerful because the golf in general, logos often can mean a lot. You can be really, I love my friends at Arcadia Bluffs up in Michigan, but they have a terrible logo. It's just
mm,
not good. But like those kind of things can sometimes not have people really want to be so connected to it. But we wanted to be intentional with that. So that way, again, conversation can spark, it can move people forward to just another engagement process for
yeah.
potentially getting that conversation about faith and really what this whole community is built around. So that's really
Hmm.
cool that, like, shout out Ryan Corey for recognizing the RC on it. Appreciate that guy. That's good. Um, well, it does. It oftentimes we have seen it. So many things come back to, um, Jeff as a connecting point that people see him through photography originally. I mean, we're all sitting around this mostly because that's where we've seen a lot of this stuff. But for you, like you mentioned, you were kind of newer to golf, in
Yeah.
general. Um, let's go back a little bit. I'd like to go back a little bit here and ask. Maybe this is a good point now to really talk about Dormie Network Foundation. Because I mentioned at the beginning that the Restoration Club has been a part of like the process that you guys have around the nonprofit support. But can you give us the elevator pitch about that, how it works, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about how you guys are making an impact through
Yeah.
golf?
Do you mind if I share how my story kind of led me to this? I
Always.
can tend to kind of go on and I get excited about this
You're
stuff.
good.
So if you want to like interrupt me just to break up my voice and
No, you're
sound
good.
like go for it. But so like I said, moved to Colorado in 2007 and mostly because my wife was going to grad school. I didn't really have like a career lined up. I didn't go to school to become an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. Have a general business degree. And so when we moved halfway across the country, I was like, well, this is a pretty big transition. I'm going to like take some time to actually think about like, what do I want to be doing? And I've always known that about myself. Like I need to do something. I need to be working related to something that I care about. Like I could never just go and sell widgets. Like, I need to be kind of connected to whatever it is. Well, I really loved sports and kids at the time. And I mean, I still do, but that's what I was using in my kind of putting in the search functions when I was looking for a job. Wasn't necessarily looking for a nonprofit, but that's where I landed. I landed at Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Denver. And they have a program here called Sports Buddies, which was designed to get more men involved with mentoring. And so sports buddies, sports, kids, checking the boxes. Well, that was my introduction to nonprofit and had the CEO of the organization at the time, Dave Stalls, um, had a huge influence on me wanting to stay in nonprofit and continue kind of down that path. And one thing I learned through Big Brothers Big Sisters and mentoring is the power of creating space for people to connect. Which, man, like comes back to Restoration Club and so many things in our lives, right? Like, and that's what mentoring was for these kids in Denver, and connecting them with mentors who could positively impact their lives. So that was like the foundation of it all for me. From there, moved on to Goodwill Industries of Denver. People may not know that they did have a huge youth career development program here in Denver. And that was what I was involved with. So again, building off the mentoring, we were doing a lot of post-secondary career readiness stuff. And then after that, I had the opportunity to be a founding executive director of a nonprofit called Hope Kids, which does have chapters in different cities around the country. I was hired to launch the chapter in Denver in 2016. And that was really my like dive into being responsible for fundraising, and really where you always, whenever you're working for a nonprofit, as you probably know, you wear many hats, you're involved with all aspects. But like when you're the executive director, you're kind of in charge of making sure you raise the funds. And we didn't have a development team, so I was the development team. It was pretty small operation, um, And so anyway, sorry, promise I'll get to the Dormie Network Foundation here. But while I was the executive director at Hope Kids, there's a thread of golf that exists in Hope Kids. Actually, Tom Lehman was part of the group that started it down in Phoenix, Scottsdale area back in like 2001. And so every chapter that opens up ends up having a golf tournament, and there's just some golf threads that kind of go through it. Well, I didn't grow up playing golf. I grew up most of my life in northern Maine. Golf season's pretty short up there. Not big in my family. My grandparents definitely were into it. They were members of clubs in Florida and Cape Cod and stuff where they lived in the summers, but it wasn't a part of my life. I grew up playing sports, loved sports, played something every season, but not really golf. As I got to be an adult, ended up with a set of clubs around, would every once in a while find them kind of in my hands, hacking around, but like wouldn't say I was a golfer. And so anyway, we start running these golf tournaments, and I start connecting with our donors who love golf, and become friends with a few of them. And one of them says, hey, there's a group of guys, we go on a golf trip every year. And we have a spot open next spring, and wanted to see if you'd like to fill that spot. It's a 12-person trip. And I'm thinking, like, what a great way to spend time with a donor or donors. So I say yes. And they're like, great, we're going to Pinehurst. And I'm like, oh, I've heard of that place.
Casual intro.
Setting the bar pretty high for my first ever golf trip. And I've been a part of this golf trip every year since. This was in 2021. And the way that our group does trips is like not just going to like the resort and doing the resort thing and playing as many courses on the resort as we can, but it's staying in a house and playing a bunch of golf around the area. So we did play like number 3 at Pinehurst, which was excellent, and played Tobacco Road and Southern Pines, Mid Pines, like all kinds of really good golf in the area. And the other thing they told me was that I needed to just give them my handicap so that we could, do all the games and things like that. Well, I never kept a handicap. And so they'll just make one up. Pretty casual group. Well, I felt too embarrassed to say anything higher than 18. I was thinking like stroke hole feels fair. I mean, I had to have been at least a 25. I struggled. I didn't win anything, let's put it that way. But I had so much fun. And the last property we played, which looking back is pretty remarkable that we even played it, was Dormie Club. And the reason that we were able to play it is because during that time, they were totally rebuilding. They were converting it essentially from what Dormie Club was when it was initially built out to what it is now as a Dormie Network property, which, they had to add all the cottages. They completely redid the clubhouse. So all of that construction was going on when we were there, but the course was in great shape. And so I think they just had some open play to groups. They'd work with different companies that would bring groups in to say, hey, if a group needs to get out, we can look into including, Dormie Club. So we played it. I had never heard of it. And we're all getting ready to tee off on the first tee. One of the assistant golf pros who's, Dormie Network is all about hospitality, right? And so they're out there and they're hosting and they're making sure everybody feels good about getting the round started. So this assistant golf pro is just out there hanging with us while we're all waiting to tee off. And they ask, like, where are you guys from? What do you guys do? And most of us were all from Denver. And I shared that I was the executive director of a nonprofit, Hope Kids. And he's like, oh, the Dormie Network just launched a foundation last year. Like, I should get you in touch. And I'm thinking, like, man, I'm on this this golf trip. I'm now getting connected to like foundations. Like, this I might be able to write this trip off from work. Didn't do that. If anybody else is listening, wondering, I did not do that. That's wasn't appropriate to be doing that for that nonprofit. But anyway, I did connect with Brian Shank, who was hired to launch the foundation, and he shared. So I come back to Denver and we get on a call, and he shares the vision of why the Pede family, who is behind the Dormie Network, wanted to make philanthropy such an integral part of how the business operates. And as a fundraiser, I was just encouraged, excited like for what they were doing, because I think a lot of companies, for good reasons, like wait until they're profitable and have resources to then be able to share. But Dormie Network said, no, we are going to make this a part of how we grow the business from the start. We're going to make philanthropy a part of the business operations. And I was like, what? Like, how cool is that? Like, so encouraging as a fundraiser to hear that. And at the same time, I was also like, that is cool. I'm going to keep an eye on these guys. So a year and a half after that conversation, um, Brian starts growing the foundation team, and I see like a post or something, and I'm like, hey, Brian, remember me? Like, and that led to an opportunity to join the team. So that's my story for getting there. And, you know, I talked about activating generosity. I mean, that's what I do every single day in my job, where these awesome worlds of golf and philanthropy intersect, and explode into generosity. And so I started in January of 2023. So started my 4th year with the foundation, and man, we are rocking and rolling. It is incredible. I think I keep hearing this from others. I think it's unique. It's a unique way of operating the business. It's a unique way of doing philanthropy. And does it come with its challenges? For sure. I think people see me, when they see me, they usually see my social media posts, right? And I'm doing all this cool stuff. I'm either at a Dormie property or I'm playing golf or whatever. But our team works so hard to connect with nonprofits and help them figure out unique ways of connecting with their donors and ways that they might not have been able to before, or something to support what they're already doing. And so I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit, but to back up a little bit, just in case there are people that don't really know what the Dormie Network is, from a business standpoint, you know, we're a collection of private golf clubs that we own and operate scattered around the country. We currently have 7 in the portfolio. Our goals, you know, to get to 10 or 12, maybe. It kind of depends on how it all works out, but we do want to grow a little bit more. And the idea is to have one single private membership that allows our members to have options to go to different clubs and just have the ultimate destination, stay and play golf experience with amazing hospitality. We say we're a hospitality company that's built around golf. So like I said before, cottages on, and it's very consistent from property to property. There's cottages on all the property. There's 60 beds in total on each property. So that's what we max out at. So just think about that in and of itself. If the most people you're ever going to see on our property is 60 or 15 foursomes, like it's nutty. That in of itself creates a pretty cool experience. Then you add on all the hospitality, the food and beverage program, you know, just hanging out in between rounds, after meals, on the putting green lit up at night, like whatever it is, like it's just a fantastic experience to grow relationships, to be with people you want to be with, whether they're your friends, your family, your business contacts, your donors. So that's the business model. When the foundation was launched in 2020, we initially set four pillars that we wanted to focus on: youth golf, military and first responders, healthcare and humanitarian efforts, and the environment. And our goal was to focus on those 4 areas and have cash available to grant out. And our goal is to get to a point where we have $1 million per property that we own available every year to give out in grants. And I'm even going down this rabbit hole of exploring some things like impact investing, and what that means. So we're still working on it, and we're kind of building the ship as we're flying it, to some extent. Well, when we initially set that vision, we didn't have that cash to just give away. And this next decision that the organization made, I think is so cool. They said, all right, we know we want to do this. We know we're going to work towards it, but what can we be doing now? We don't want to wait until we have that amount of cash to start connecting with organizations and seeing how we can help. And we realized, like, well, we have this cool thing. It's the Dormie Network. It's the membership. It's the experience that people have when they're on property. How can we position that to be a tool in the toolbox for nonprofits, for them to have as they go and connect with their donors who love golf, love to travel, have a reason or desire to entertain their friends, family, business contacts, and have the capacity to make a significant gift to a nonprofit that they care about? And that's what we're doing. And we do that through primarily our 1-year membership program, where we basically we cut the initiation fee, we cut the dues for a year. We position this to be a tool in the toolbox for nonprofits, and we say, let us help you figure out how to use this to connect with your donors. And that can look like a lot of different things. And honestly, like I feel like I show up as a fundraising consultant most of the time. I offer to nonprofits. I'm like, let me be an extension of your development team. Like, let me help you figure out how to strategically use this. We don't want to just be like, here you go, good luck. Like, we want to see you land life-changing donations and gifts and activate generosity as a result of having this resource available to you. So I don't know, I catch myself and I'm like, wow, I'm actually talking loud and faster than I normally do. I get fired up about this.
Yeah,
like I'm
awesome.
golf and philanthropy, man. Like
Yeah.
two things that I love, second and third, to family. Really, my family is doing this, and it's just so fun. And like I said before, there are challenges. One of the biggest challenges is that a lot of fundraisers get hit up by businesses and things out there that are like, we can help you, and it's going to cost something. There's a consignment component. They just want access to your donor database, whatever. I remember getting those emails and calls weekly as an executive director. And I think sometimes people think that's what we are if they don't know who we are already. So that's the first barrier that we need to get through is like, no, we are doing this because we want to help. 100% of the donation that a donor makes to receive the membership stays with the nonprofit. Like we don't take a percentage of it. We don't charge the nonprofit anything to use it. It's 100% of it goes to them. And we're so fortunate to be in a position where we can waive those dues and fees for a year to allow nonprofits connect with their donors in a meaningful way. I mean, since 2020, through mostly in-kind donations and a little bit of cash granting, we've helped nonprofits raise over $25 million. And that was over $8 million alone just in 2025. So it's just growing and growing. Our annual report is available through our website and stuff, and I could share it or whatever, but it shows, there's a cool chart that shows that growth, which is super cool to see because we did, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what it was. I'm not looking at it right now, but like maybe $1 million worth of impact the first year. And we were like, wow, I remember Brian was like, wow, that was so cool. We did that. And now to see what we're growing and what we continue to want to grow into. But I'll pause for a second and see if there's any questions, but that's kind of what we're doing and what we're up to.
How you talk about the challenges and obviously some of the rewards. I don't want you to maybe, pick a favorite kid. Has there been a moment that is kind of a marked moment for you, even just in the 3 years, whether it's on a specific property, a certain interaction, conversation with a nonprofit where you've kind of said in your head when it's happened, like, that's why I'm here and that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing?
There's a lot of things that come to mind when you say that or ask that. And they're mostly feedback that I've received from the nonprofit organizations that we've worked with. And I'll share a couple. And because some people are like, oh, we can probably only use this if we're like a really big nonprofit that has like really big donors. And this story counters that. So I remember I was explaining what we do and everything. And the woman that was running the organization that we were looking at supporting was like, man, this all sounds great, but we've never received a donation that comes anywhere close to qualifying for this membership. And I was like, I get it, but what if this helps you get your first one? And so they had an event and that they were going to try to position this at the event. And I mean, usually after a big event, like the nonprofit staff usually take a day to catch their breath or whatever, and then get back into it. This woman texted me. It might have been Sunday morning. Like the event might have been on a Saturday. This might have been Sunday morning. And she's like, Howie, we got a donor that was so excited about the Dormie Network membership, and that we have now received the largest gift we've ever received as a nonprofit. And I was like, so excited for them. So that's one example that comes to mind, and that was really early on in my journey with the Dormie Network Foundation. Another one actually comes back to Ryan Corey. So Ryan Corey was somebody we don't always get to do this, but every once in a while we can position an opportunity for what we call an access trip, where we can work with a nonprofit to plan a trip to a property where they invite their donors, and we have this awesome donor engagement experience for them that is intended to lead to a sizable donation for the organization. So I just remember this one. So I'm at Briggs Ranch in San Antonio with Ryan, and he's with an organization called St. Vincent de Paul, and it's a big national organization, but he runs all the fundraising operations for their Phoenix chapter. They do amazing work in the community there. And so we're all there, and we've been on the range, we're getting ready to tee off, and Ryan comes over and he's like, this is amazing that we are getting to do this right now. There's a guy that's in my cart right now that I'm going to get to spend the next 2 days with, that I've been trying to schedule a lunch with in Phoenix for 3 years. And now I get to have 48 hours of time with him, and I'm going to get to share, our vision and what we're trying to do, and invite him into that process. And so, he's going to ride in my cart. We're going to sit together at dinner, like whatever. And we had, a group of donors there. And so like that to me is just another reminder of what we're helping these organizations create, which is these unique opportunities to grow relationships that could lead to life-changing impact for the people they serve and what they might be able to do with their resources. And so, but with that, like you don't have to like be on property with a donor to have that experience. Like I try to tell organizations that, you might have a coffee or a lunch scheduled with a major donor a couple weeks down the road. Maybe that they travel a bit for golf, they go on some trips, maybe they do a ton of golf for business development for their company. Bring this into the conversation, right? Let it be a conversation starter that might be different than normal conversations you'd have. You never know where it's going to go. Like we all have experience of when we just talk golf, like we nerd out about golf and logos and brands and places we've been and courses and whatever. Like maybe that sparks maybe the Dormie Network sparks something, and all of a sudden it leads to this bigger donation, new donation, who knows? So, there's just a couple examples, but there's probably a lot more of that too.
I will actually say I was on a flight last year and happened to see the pin flag, the Dormie logo, and it definitely sparked a conversation with a guy in my row. So easy conversation starter.
So on the way to Augusta last week, Denver, Chicago, we flew into Atlanta, waiting for our flight to board on our layover, and some like high school kid comes up to me, and I'm wearing my backpack that has the Dormie logo, and he's like, he pulls up his quarter zip, and he shows me his, the pin flag. He's like, yeah, I got to go. I can't remember. I think it was maybe Arbor Links or something like that. And just wanted to talk about it. Like, it's so cool. It's definitely, I think the pin flag is becoming one of those, if type of logos. And I mean, I've been in the United Club in San Antonio and had people come up to me. So it's really fun. And that happens like with many other logos too, right? Like there's a connection point. If you've had an experience associated with it, you're going to see it and be like, I want to talk about that with you.
Good. Howie, are you guys headquartered in Colorado, or where's that?
No. Headquarters is in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Pede family is from there. I'm fortunate to be able to work remotely. I work with so there's 6 of us on our foundation team now, which is also remarkable that the Dormie Network is willing and able to invest in 6 full-time staff that dedicate 100% of our time towards philanthropy. And so, yeah, there's a big team that's in Lincoln, and I was going to say something else there. I think it is worthwhile to mention. I should know that. I should have this handy. I should memorize this Bible verse. It was Proverbs. I posted about it not that long ago, but it's a verse in Proverbs. It's either 29:11 or 11:29. I should look this up, but it talks about generosity, right? And how we benefit from a generous posture, just if we live that way, essentially. It reminded me of like how Dormie Network, I mean, we've been able to grow tremendously as a business because of what we're doing philanthropically. Like, and we're not trying to hide that, right? Like, I'm a true believer that like when you are generous, like, and do good things, like good things are going to come back. And so about somewhere around 40 to 45% of members that come on through our foundation end up sticking around, and that helps us grow, right? And we don't do anything crazy to like make them stay or, you know, convince them or sell them. And like the experience kind of sells itself. If they get there, they're going to know pretty quickly if this is something that is in the cards for them to continue with and if they want to. And so, you know, it's fun to be able to tell the story of, and that's why I talk about like Dormie Network making philanthropy a part of the business operations from the start. So, and it all kind of is that cycle of like, well, if we grow, we're able to do more. And if we, you know, we're making philanthropy a part of how we grow. So I think it's just helping us get, you know, all this growth is helping us get to where we ultimately want to be, which is that, you know, cash granting foundation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's such a, when businesses are focused on philanthropy, because they can give back so much to communities and it can literally change the world. And it's possible. I really do believe that if all business got together, we could literally eradicate so much in this world, and at least doing it incrementally through, you know, through the Dormie Network Foundation and through other organizations that do powerful work like this, it's doable. I mean, I'm in that seat you're talking about, Howie, where every day is a fundraising day. So I totally get it. And I have an amazing team who does a lot of that too, but I know the ask all the time, but to sit with someone, like you mentioned, Ryan had that opportunity to sit with someone for days and go, hey, this is what it's really all about. It's such a, I don't know, it just makes me really thankful for people who get it and have an understanding that the abundant heart can do so much, in particular what impacts the abundant hands to do so much outside too. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. You've been all over these courses. You've done all these amazing things and gone all these amazing places and doing it continually, like not just from I get to do this aspect, but from an aspect that people can get involved in, like experience, as you said, not just the great golf, but the hospitality, which is the crux of it all. Our favorite question: what's your favorite memory on a golf course that does not involve a club or a swing? Friday?
But do we even really need to mention it out loud? That's the easiest question I've ever had to been able to. Before last Friday would have been really hard. Yeah, man, it has to be like Friday at Augusta National during the Masters, like for all the reasons we already talked about.
Yeah.
I do want to share another fun story that literally doesn't have anything to do with golf, but it happened at a golf club, which I think is pretty funny.
Yes.
This is like before I was even in the golf space. So I mentioned I got married pretty young. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So I have a buddy whose wedding I went to who got married even before I did. And he married a woman from Philadelphia. So the wedding was at a country club in Philadelphia. So her whole side of the family is kind of Philadelphia area. His whole side of the family is like Boston area. So Boston fans, Philly fans.
Kind people.
And this wedding, yeah, the two best
rough combo,
two best fan bases. So we're at this country club for the wedding in the Philly area, and it's end of August, and so it's baseball season. And again, Boston fans, this is 2004. Do we know what happened in 2004? Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in 82 years. Yeah. So we're at the wedding and it's the reception, and this gentleman is having lunch or dinner with his family or something at the country club and hears something going on and goes to see what's happening and has an interaction with the bride's mom. And she's so happy. She's like, yeah, my daughter's getting married and we're having such a good time. And he's like, oh, cool. I just wanted to see what's going on. Like, you know, love it. Congratulations. Goes back to his dinner. Do you want to take a guess to who that was? Based on what? It was Kurt Schilling.
Really?
No way.
So Kurt Schilling
Bloody sock
had
himself.
played for the Phillies, had played for the Phillies, and must have had been a member of the club and had connection. He was there, but now he's playing for the Red Sox, and all of the fans. We're all in our like early 20s, like all the the groom's group, and and so we're like major Red Sox fans, and this is like right before everything happens that leads them to win the World Series that year, including the bloody sock. And there's not really a happy ending to this story. Like he didn't come back. We didn't hang out. He didn't like have a beer with us
Faded
at
off into the
the
sunset.
whatever. But later, afterwards, the mother of the bride shared this story with the groom, and realizing it was Kurt Schilling, and he's like, "What? Why didn't you tell him that half the people at the wedding are diehard Red Sox fans?"
I would have paused the
like,
reception just to hang out with this guy.
So anyway, that's just another fun memory that comes to mind when I think about just on a golf course. But pretty much all the others involve a club.
Yeah.
And so I like that you asked that question. Because you have to think about it for a minute. Because how many people are spending a lot of time without a golf club on the golf course?
Well, it goes back to even Jeff's recommendation to you about Augusta. Just be present.
Totally.
We've had these conversations with dozens of people now talking about what was your memory, and it's been everything we've mentioned before of people who've asked their wife's father for their hand in marriage, people who've walked a walk alone and just had time together, or all these places you can go and things you can do. And there you are walking through under the tunnel going into, I don't know which entrance you came in, but at Augusta, walking onto the ground, and you're just like almost this hollowed feeling. You're like, oh, this is a very connected moment, and you can kind of be present in that powerful times. That's honestly why the question even exists, because you can hit a shot, but guess what? If we then asked you, hey, tell me about your 10 worst shots, you'd have way more to tell.
Yep. You probably remember them better too. Unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But man, what a good conversation. I was just thinking, like, if I think of all the Howies that I've ever met or even I know in general, they're all great. Howie Long, Howie Day, Howie Hutchinson. Like,
you've met all those guys. That's pretty cool.
I've never met a bad Howie. That's all I know. Howie's Pizza. I mean, that's like Hungry Howie's.
Hungry Howie's.
Yeah, we get down with that. We just really thankful for your time. If people want to find out about the Dormie Network Foundation from the nonprofit end, or even from other people want to get involved somehow, how do they learn more?
Yeah, best place to go for Dormie Network, just to learn about what we're doing, is dormienetwork.com, our website. We do have a specific website, dormienetworkfoundation.org, for the foundation, and talks about how to get involved, how to request support. I would just encourage anybody that has already worked with us can just reach out to anybody on the team to continue conversations. If they haven't worked with us before and they're interested in figuring out how, start at the website and reach out. There's a kind of an apply button, or we'll follow up and get in touch with them and learn about their organization and what their fundraising needs are. We also have a pretty decent presence through the foundation on LinkedIn right now. So I encourage people to find us there. We're constantly sharing partner stories, what we're up to as the foundation, things like that. And then just, I would offer myself, like, if anybody wants to find me on LinkedIn or somehow connect with me, I'm happy to, whether you're a fundraiser yourself, you serve on a board, you're a donor, if you want to help, get us connected to the organization you represent, I'm happy to do that. Personally. So you can always list my contact information here, or people can find me on LinkedIn. That's a good way.
That's perfect. Yeah, we'll put all that in the show notes, the links to the web pages, as well as your contact information, because we really believe in not only what you're doing, but how you guys are doing it. And I think that's a really valuable piece, because we believe in that Jesus taught us a lot about hospitality in general, and how we treat other people is very important. And you guys do a really great job at that, and allowing that hospitality to make a connecting impact on nonprofits across this country and the game itself is really a really admirable thing. So we appreciate all that you guys do.
That just reminds me of a couple thoughts. One, it's just, it reminds me of that, like, one, we don't have to be doing what we're doing. Like, nobody's forcing us to do that. And so it goes back to our leadership and their commitment to helping and just making the resources they have available to others to do good. And the other thing is like, we have all kinds of different people coming onto our property and using it for a lot of different reasons. At the end of the day, it's all about, having a good experience and connecting with other people. One of the favorite things that I've seen and experienced is when we've had faith-based groups out at our properties doing whatever they want to do in terms of promoting a ministry that they're involved with or whatever. And every time I have that experience, I'm like, how cool is it that this is what the Dormie Network is getting used for right now? It could be getting used for many other things, and it does. And not to say they're all horrible or bad, but like, how cool is it that this is happening? And this is happening because of our commitment to philanthropy. And it's not that we just work with ministries and things like that, but like that one stands out to me because, and sorry, one quick story. We worked with a group from Young Life, and they were like, we do a golf and grow event every year. We do a couple of them. And they're like, what would it look like to maybe do that at a Dormie property? And we explored it and we figured out how to make it happen. And I got to be a part of it. And I was like, golf and grow, love it. Like, we're going to golf and we're going to grow our relationships with our donors. Like, fantastic. I was very quick to realize that the grow part did not just mean growing relationship with donors. It was like, how do we all grow in our walk with God? And we're sitting in our clubhouse and we're doing devotions and people are sharing their testimonies. And then we're going back to the cottages and continuing those conversations. I'm like, this is happening at a Dormie Network property. This is like so cool.
It's awesome.
So I don't know.
Makes me think back to our Builders Cup in Pinehurst and being at Mid Pines and praying at the first tee together and the starter saying, I haven't seen that in 30 plus years here. So to know that you guys are creating space for those types of groups to have those moments is really, really important.
And those are the favorite conversations that I want to that I like to have is like, how can we work towards maybe creating that opportunity? Like, we can't just do anything and everything all the time, but like, I'm always open to having the creative conversations that could lead to things like that. And sometimes it may not work, but sometimes it could. And, it has to start with a conversation. The answer is always no if you don't ask. So I probably get myself in trouble a little bit by asking too many things, but I'm a people pleaser. And honestly, at the end of the day, I just want to help. So, I like to dream up and think up like, what could we do? And we're doing a lot. So it's fun.
Those mouths don't get fed. We always say it. So that's just how it works. It's a good word. Good word. Well, Howie, thank you for everything that you guys are doing, but also thank you for who you are, man. You're always a breath of fresh air. I look forward to the time when we are going to be on a property ourselves together, and we'll make that happen sooner rather than later, and just the connecting opportunities we're going to have moving forward. But from everybody at Restoration Club, we appreciate everything you are and all that you're doing, man. So we wish you the best.
Appreciate that. And same. You guys are doing good work as well. So we're all in it together.
I'll echo everything Ryan said. Thank you, Howie. And we'll let you get to laying out your master's outfit for tomorrow. Ready to go.
Already laid out. It was just waiting for next year, but it's laid out.
Fair enough. All right, man. Well, we're going to get rolling. And again, we appreciate you and we will talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. All right, man. Well, that was season 4, episode 4 with Howie Hutchinson of the Dormie Network Foundation. Man, we say it every time, but just another good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, so cool. From everything from like, I did not know we were going to get in the anxiety conversation, but I'm glad we did because I know so many people that is a thing for them. And I have my times as well. So knowing that there are tools, but walking into Augusta and what he does in terms of philanthropy and help. I mean, I just love the connection that Restoration Club brings to people.
No doubt. I think it was a good reminder too. We talked to so many guys that have been involved in the game, whether it's their whole life or quite some time, to talk to someone who's somewhat new to the game, but kind of appreciating it for the first time and really seeing, as we always say, the power of connection in the game. It's fun to see it through someone's eyes like Howie's as well.
100%. Love it.
So another great time, guys. Thank you always for listening. That was season 4, episode 4. Catch us as always on Instagram, restoration_club, as well as our website, restorationclub.co. Ryan, my man. Until next time, keep swinging.
Keep swinging.